Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server. We are with our level 33 brute, Quintessence Lass, who has over 2 million experience earned, with just under a half million to go to get to level 34 in our next set of enhancement slots, and nearly 30 million influence. And we are on a story arc for Tina Chung, who says it looks like Drek has been trying to put a stop to the fighting among the freak show by reestablishing his street cred with all the factions. He plans to do it by ordering raids against Cray facilities all over the city. That might convince the freaks that he really is the bold, violent leader they're looking for, but it's also going to result in a lot of civilian injuries. I'm calling in all my hero contacts on this one. Will you stop the freak show raids? Yes, we will. So we're going to defeat the freak show in King's Row. So welcome back to another episode. They just did an update to the server here, and I don't know if it was this update or maybe it was an earlier one, and I just have been so far behind on catching up on the server announcements, but I think it was fairly recently. They added Psionic Melee to the Scrapper, Tanker, and Brute sets, and I couldn't resist. I went and made myself a Psionic Scrapper, Psionic and Willpower. Psionic Melee, primary, and Willpower secondary. I call her Psyop, right? Psychological operation, like psychological warfare, right? And she's actually pretty cool. I was trying to get a good like helmet or something for her, and it turns out that there's this. That I didn't like any of the helmets, but there's this visor that kind of completely covers the eyes, and is very solid, right? So like doesn't look like you can see through it. And I decided that she's actually blind, and she uses her mind powers to like see who's around her and stuff. So I really like that idea. And and so she's a mutant who couldn't see. She was blind from birth, and then when she went through puberty or whatever you want to call it, as she got older, which is typical with mutants when they get to the point where they're starting to, their hormones kick in and everything, then their powers manifest, and so her powers manifested themselves, and she became able to sense, not really see, but sense things. And so she's a psychological scrapper. Pretty cool. I like it a lot. The special effects are neat. And I got her. She's at 4th level, and she's just a beginning character. I will not be doing a let's play with her. I'm just playing, and it's been a lot of fun. She's pretty cool. I gave her flight, which I normally don't do for scrappers, tankers. I did Liberty Lass had it. I just couldn't think of any other good realistic powers for her to have. I just, for movement, super jump doesn't fit for me. I feel like the most logical thing, since she obviously would have the ability to do telekinesis and stuff, it seemed the most logical to me was that she should be flying. I thought about teleport, but I don't really think that her mind would be able to move her, from place to place without transitioning in between. Just seems to me like flight, levitation, sort of self-telekinesis makes the most sense. And I forgot we are on +2, which means we're going to be fighting a lot of +3s. And these guys are going to just be so hard to take down. Just in terms of the amount of time it takes, the number of misses you go through like this. And let's take a look at what our 2 hits were, right? Forced to hit by the Streak Breaker. We rolled a 65, we had a 64% chance, and rolled an 86. And I rolled a 73. So we missed 3 times in a row with a 2/3 chance to hit. Just beautiful. So, this is sort of the problem. You have a 2/3 chance to hit, and you hit 1/3 of the time. That's 4 out of 5 misses, 4 out of 6, right? And so it just seems like, we're hitting below 50%. Now we're at about 50%, but we're never going to go much above 50%. It's never going to get to 65. Sometimes it almost feels like I know obviously this isn't true because you can see in the rolls that it's not, but it just feels like the game just never rolls below a 50. So if you have a 50% chance to hit something, you're going to miss a lot. And then if you have a 60% chance to hit something, you'll hit, well, 25% of the time. It sure feels that way. I know it's not that way, but it feels that way for sure. Let's do some Soul Drain. That's good. We hit them both, and that should give us some buff to our 2-hit. That'll help. It also, and again, I know it's not always this way, but it feels this way. Like when you get him down to a sliver of hit points so that you only need to do one more hit to take him out, that's when you miss 2 or 3 times in sequence. Especially seems to happen a lot on the freaks when you right as they're going to do a dull pain and you knock them out and stop the dull pain, except you miss. Again, I know it doesn't actually happen. It just feels like it does. Lots of lieutenants here. We're going to be getting massive amounts of XP. And each lieutenant gets us almost 4,000 experience points, which is just massive. Remember, we only need about 400,000 XP to level, so literally 100 lieutenants and their accompanying minions would more than level us, and that wouldn't count anything else like missions and extra 3 minion spawns, bosses, any of that. I do love being able to get that endurance right back. It's always great. I definitely am liking the higher challenge of these +3s. In fact, if they didn't give you +1 to the mission as much as they do, which is sometimes more than half, I would actually think we might be able to run on +3 if we never went to +4. The reality is, on a +2 mission setting, we're going to be getting about 40% +2 and 60% +3, it seems like, in some of these missions. So it's always good to err on the side of caution just a little bit so we don't end up with +4s at this level without any sets other than just the one archetype set. Guys, this character is kicking butt. I mean, look at this. We're fighting purples at level 33 with only a single set. That's how good brutes are. It's just awesome. Yeah, it was a little weird playing the psionic melee character, playing Psyop, as I was fighting, and I got caught at one point. It was outside, and I got caught in an area where they respawned, and so I was fighting some Hellions, and then a couple other Hellions respawned, and so the battle went on for quite some time, and I'm like, how come I'm not doing more damage? I mean, I'm used to the longer the battle goes on, the more damage I do, and I'm oh, that's right, I'm playing as Scrapper. It was very funny. But I do love Scrappers very, very much. And I think I'm going to really like the willpower pool. Right now, of course, my character only has the first power, which is just a passive resistance. I think it's about 6% base, which means you can maybe get it up to about 10% with full SOs on it. And then I just have 2 psionic attacks, the level 1 one and the level 2 one, and then flight. So that's all the character has. It's very, beginning of the game for her. And yep, it's another female character. That's just what came to me as I was designing it. And I really like the name Psyop. It's cool. City Heroes is a really fun game, and I do enjoy playing it. My in terms of my D&D group, we didn't play this week. It was our off week, and just yesterday, um, the new player wrote the first in-character journal entry. And what she decided to do, which was really cool, she didn't tell anybody she was going to do this, but it was a great idea. Instead of writing it as a journal, she wrote it as letters to her brother, to her younger brother. I guess she has, like, in character, she writes letters to him to, like, just fill him in on what she's doing. And I guess they've been corresponding with each other for a long time. And so, they're in the astral plane, and she's writing these letters, and she has no idea if they're ever going to get to him, but she's still writing the letters because it's just what she does. And so she wrote the journal entry as a series of letters, which was really cool. And what I was able to do then in World Anvil, which is what we use to distribute this stuff amongst each other, it's a website. It's a very cool website for world building. In World Anvil, I was able to use the quote function, and it looks like a document, right, on the page, just the way they have it set up. So I put each individual letter inside a quote with the dates, because she had put the dates with like question marks, because they don't know, in the astral plane, they don't really know how much time is passing, because there's no sun, and they're sort of tracking time, but not exactly, and so they don't really know, how much time has gone by, and so she's got like question marks after the dates. And I just think it was really cool that that she did these letters, and it's very different. Each each player does a different style of journal for their character, which I really like. And there we go with the sliver again, 2 misses. It's almost like the game is just like thumbing its nose at you. So anyway, yeah, that was really cool. My players have been very creative um, with their journal entries, and um, I've really enjoyed reading like the in-character take on what happened. There was a great little moment in the one that the new character just wrote, where she was writing about the love story between our sorcerer and his girlfriend, and she made some comment about how, like, I don't know, somebody that she and the other guy knows, which we don't know, in the campaign who it is. But I think it sounds like, since it's a female name, it's like her sister or something. Would really love this star-crossed lover story. She must be a lover of like romance novels or something. And one of the things I really like is how all the players have been really good about just these subtle one-liners in the middle of their journal that they don't elaborate on, but just give you some insight into their character. And she did it really well, I think, also. So it's just been really fun. I highly recommend, if anybody who's listening is a DM and is running a campaign, or GM of any game and is running a campaign that have I highly recommend this idea. And I don't know where I got it from, but the idea of having a different character from the group each session write an in-character journal where they kind of write up the session of what happened, and they tell it, like, sort of make that then publicly available to the rest of the group. It's sort of out of character for you to read what's in the journal. Of course, your character wouldn't necessarily know what's in the journal, but it gives great insight into the characters, and it also serves as a really nice record in character of what the characters have experienced and what they're thinking at the time it happens, which, a year from now, the players may not remember when they're on the 20th or 30th session. 3 misses in a row with 65% chance to hit. Isn't that great? So they may not remember. They may remember the events, but not remember how their character thought about the events, 6 months from now. But if they've got a journal about it, then they'll remember, and it'll tell them just exactly what they thought of the events 6 months ago. And so it's a really cool idea. If you've never tried it, I highly recommend it. And give it a whirl and see how it goes. And I think what I'm really lucky and glad is that we decided to do this in the very first session. And can't remember who did the first one. It might have been my best friend who did it. But they agreed to take turns, and we agreed to do it from the very first session. And so we have a full record, a full accounting of the entire campaign, 25 sessions worth, going all the way back to the very first session. So, I mean, I think it's, obviously if you're 15 or 20 sessions into a long campaign and you hadn't thought to do it, you can certainly start. It's never too late to start. But it's really neat to have it right from the beginning, and you can go back and read them all. And like now we have this new player, so I don't know if she's read all of them yet. I know she referenced at one point she was really glad that the characters had told her some stuff in character, because she sort of made the out of character comment that she's been trying not to read too much of the journal entries until her character hears the story from the PCs, because she doesn't want to confuse like what she knows versus what her character knows. I assume she started reading them now because her character has been with the party for a couple sessions, but I don't really know. And but assuming she has, it's really nice to have that whole. I don't know. It's almost like a short story at this point of little 2-page chapters, and there's like 20 of them, and it comes together in a really nice story, and she can read it from beginning to end and get a good sense of what the campaign has been like up to this point. And yeah, after we got done with what I'm calling Book 1, which is the first 5 levels of the game, I actually went back and just read the whole thing, sort of to prep myself for quote-unquote Book 2, and that was really useful. So I can highly recommend the idea if you've never tried it, if you've never thought about it before. I think it works really well, and give it a try. I give a reward. I give an inspiration to whoever does it, although a lot of times they don't use their inspirations. And like last week, I gave everybody inspiration anyway because I thought they did such a good job of negotiating with the dragon rather than fighting it. And so the new player doesn't, really get any benefit, because you can only have one inspiration, like one at a time. You can't have multiple points of inspiration. So everybody's got it, but I don't think she did the journal for that. I think she had fun doing it. It's very clear that she enjoyed writing it, and the players have also said, a couple of the players, now my best friend hasn't really mentioned it, but the other players have said that one of the things they really like is it forces them to think, long, sort of in character, rather than like right there at the table live. They're thinking about it as they write, which gives them a chance to be a little more. I think the right word for it would be deliberative about how their character would react to things, and they can more kind of be a little more, I don't know, thoughtful about it. They have more time to kind of cogitate on it and say, well, like, how would my character have viewed this comment that this guy made, which I really didn't get a chance maybe to interact with in game, right? Now that I've thought about it a little bit, how would my character react to this? And they've enjoyed it, and I think it's been a good exercise, in particular for our newest player, to think in character in between the session. How would my little forest gnome view this whole circumstance? What would she think about it? And I think it's really useful. So feel free to swipe the idea from me, guys. That's how great DMing is done. There's an old saying: good writers borrow from other writers. Great writers steal from them outright. Good DMs borrow from other DMs. Great DMs steal from them outright. Feel free to swipe and use it to good effect. And hopefully it'll both improve the roleplay and be a lot of fun for you and your players. My group has certainly enjoyed it. So we got 2 technicians to find. We're in, this is sort of nightmare room, where you have to kind of pull because there are so many of them that you're going to, like, aggro the guys above if you're not careful. Like this guy up here. Right there. Right? Pull him down. And the idea is I just don't want to get him caught up with a whole bunch of other guys. Right? And now I'm fighting like 5 purples. Because this whole room is going to be +3. Right? What the way the algorithm works is individual chunks of a map are either +0, +1, whatever. And so this room will be +3 all the way through, which means that there'll be multiple purple lieutenants and lots of red minions. So we have to do this a little bit at a time. We can't just dive in. See if we can get this guy. I think we can get this guy too, since there's just 2 of them. Didn't I? Didn't? I thought. Oh well. I thought it was. I thought it had recharged. Taunt there. I was trying to get 2 minions at once, just to try to speed it up a little bit. There's pretty much no way with +3 freaks at this level that it's going to be possible to avoid their dull pain. And I think that guy just rezzed, but we're okay up here. There we go. Pull that guy over. And we definitely want to try and, like, pull the lieutenants and get them one-on-one. Lots of missing. And of course, we don't quite have enough accuracy to be doing this. But brutes are so awesome that you can get away with it. We have earned an insane amount of XP already in this mission. We should be alright in this room at this point. We've weeded out enough of them. If we over-aggro a little bit, we should be okay. And that was just because I'm tired of missing the yellow pill. A little bit of a mistake there. Yeah. I forgot that they were killing my endurance. And I took out the Stunner Chief before sucking his endurance dry. That was a mistake. Alright. Okay, let's try and grab their endurance. There we go. Yeah, you just can't do enough damage to them, even at 166%, to stop them from recharge, from dull pain. I was able to do it with martial arts, but not with this power set. Just watching that guy to see if he reses. So now I just want to make sure we did not leave any hostages down below. Doesn't look like it, so we can head up. Just making sure that's not a lieutenant. I heard a really hilarious one today. Of course, at the time of this recording, we're still in the middle of a pandemic that's been going on for about a year. And I and a number of my friends, colleagues, former colleagues, work in college and university systems, instructing students, and many of us are hybrid or fully online. And this includes not only the courses, but all of our meetings are being held online, on Zoom, and so forth. And so a colleague of mine who works at another university in the large state system where I work sent me an email today, and she told me that the administration at her campus had sent an email around saying that they were concerned because I guess studies are showing that people are suffering some real mental consequences of all of this online everything, and that they're concerned about Zoom fatigue, and they wanted to have a Zoom meeting to discuss it. And I just find that absolutely hilarious and so typical of bureaucracy. We recognize that you're all having Zoom fatigue. Let's have a Zoom meeting to discuss Zoom fatigue. It reminds me of a line from Star Trek 4, in which Dr. McCoy said, "The bureaucratic mentality is the only constant in the universe." I think about that line often when dealing with the bureaucracy of my university and of the system where we are. The bureaucratic mentality is the only constant in the universe. And only a bureaucrat could think they could solve Zoom meeting fatigue by having a Zoom meeting. It's just simply hilarious. Well, things are going pretty well in this mission, other than the fact that it's taking unbelievably long. Gosh, we're already at half an hour, so this will be our only mission tonight. Right, I've gained like a third of a level. Last hostage. But we still have to defeat all freaks, so we're going to have to finish this level as well. I don't think there will probably be another one, since this is the final hostage. I also, with my nice low-level psychic melee character, very much missed my AoE cone. I am so spoiled rotten with that power. It's not even funny. Okay, it looks like they're not going to res, so let's see. What do we got here? This looks like the end of the lair. And there's another guy right there. You should be the last one. Nope. Oh, there's one more. I missed a section of the base. So we'll head back through the Cloud City tube and go get the last freak show. Last two freak show. In a dead end behind the door. Or not a dead end, I guess. Well, guys, since you're the last two, I can soul drain you. No need to save it. And now this should be the last guy. And that is the mission, guys. Not bad. Let's head out. So we've saved the Cray. And now we talk to Tina, who says, "Thanks for stopping that freak show raid, Quintessence Lass. You and the rest of my hero contacts really went to work on this wave of freak show violence, but it looks like those defeats have only exacerbated the freak's rebellious natures. I'm hearing reports of freak-on-freak violence all over town. Drek's going to have a tough time keeping that madcap group of misfits together." Not sure I would call them madcap. That's a little too whimsical for the freaks, it seems like to me. All right, folks. I think we're going to stop there. Until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes on the Rebirth server.